Hello, fellow project managers, and welcome to our channel. Today, we have an in-depth topic that is fundamental to successful project management: effective project scheduling techniques. As a certified expert, I'll be sharing valuable insights and strategies that will help you master project scheduling and ensure your projects are delivered on time, within budget, and with exceptional quality. So, if you're ready to enhance your project management skills, hit that subscribe button and let's begin. 1. Understand the project scope and objectives. The first step in effective project scheduling is to thoroughly understand the project scope and objectives. We'll discuss the importance of conducting a comprehensive project scope statement, defining clear and measurable objectives, and aligning them with the organization's strategic goals. By establishing a strong foundation, you set the stage for accurate scheduling and successful project delivery. Now, let's talk about how to define the project scope. This is a critical step that lays the groundwork for everything that follows. Identify key deliverables. Start by identifying the key deliverables of your project. What are the tangible results you need to produce? Whether it's a product, a service, or a specific outcome, make sure these are clearly defined. Set project boundaries. Next, set the boundaries of your project. Determine what is within the scope and what falls outside of it. This helps in managing expectations and ensures that your team stays focused on what's essential. Involve stakeholders. Engage with your stakeholders during the scope definition process. Their input is crucial to ensure that the scope aligns with business needs and expectations. Getting their buy-in early can prevent misunderstandings and conflicts later on. Once the scope is defined, the next step is to set clear objectives. These objectives are your project's North Star. They guide every decision you make throughout the project's life cycle. SMART objectives. When setting objectives, use the SMART criteria: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This ensures that your objectives are clear and realistic, making them easier to achieve and track. Align with business goals. Make sure your project objectives align with the broader business goals. This alignment ensures that the project contributes value to the organization and has the necessary support from stakeholders. Prioritize objectives. It's also important to prioritize your objectives. Determine which ones are most critical to the project's success and focus your efforts on achieving them first. Understanding the project scope and objectives is not just the first step in project scheduling, it's the most important one. It sets the stage for everything that follows, ensuring that your project stays on track and delivers the intended results. Before we move on to the next topic, if you're enjoying the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Great, I'm glad you liked it. Let's move on to the next topic. 2. Break down the work breakdown structure, WBS. To effectively schedule a project, you need to break down the work into manageable tasks. We'll dive deep into the work breakdown structure, WBS, technique. I'll show you how to create a WBS step by step, organizing the project's deliverables into hierarchical levels. With a well-defined WBS, you gain better visibility into the project scope, making it easier to estimate time and allocate resources. Let's go through the steps to create an effective WBS for your project. Start with the project goal. Begin by defining the ultimate goal or deliverable of your project. This is the highest level of your WBS. Identify major deliverables. Break down the project into its major deliverables or phases. These are the key outputs that need to be achieved to reach the project goal. For example, in a software development project, major deliverables might include requirements gathering, design, development, testing, and deployment. Break down deliverables into tasks. Next, decompose each major deliverable into smaller tasks. These tasks should be actionable and specific. For example, within the development phase, tasks might include coding, code review, and integration testing. Further decompose tasks if necessary. If a task is still too large or complex, break it down further into subtasks. The goal is to have work packages that are small enough to be assigned, managed, and tracked effectively. Assign task owners. Once your WBS is complete, assign each task or subtask to a specific team member. This ensures accountability and helps in tracking progress. 3. Determine task dependencies. Tasks in a project often depend on one another, and understanding these dependencies is critical for effective scheduling. We'll explore different types of task dependencies, such as finish to start to start, finish to finish, and start to finish. Determining these dependencies is crucial because they directly impact your project schedule, critical path, and ultimately, the success of your project. You'll learn how to identify and manage these dependencies to create a seamless project timeline. Types of task dependencies. There are 4 main types of task dependencies you need to be aware of. Finish to start, FS, the most common type where task B cannot start until task A is finished. For example, you can't begin testing a product until development is complete. Start to start, SS, here, task B can start only when task A has started. For example, when laying the foundation for a building, you can start pouring concrete only after excavation begins. Finish to finish, FF, in this case, task B cannot finish until task A is finished. For instance, editing a document and finalizing it may have to finish simultaneously. Start to finish, SF, the least common type, where task B cannot finish until task A starts. For example, a night shift worker cannot leave until the day shift worker arrives. By identifying how tasks are connected, you can create a realistic schedule that accounts for these relationships, keeping your project on time and within scope. Now that we've covered the WBS, let's move on to the next topic. 4. Estimating time and resources. Accurate time and resource estimation are essential for a successful project schedule. We'll discuss various estimation techniques, such as analogous, parametric, and 3-point estimation. I'll share practical tips on how to avoid common estimation pitfalls and ensure your project plan is realistic and achievable. Now, let's explore some proven techniques for estimating the time required to complete project tasks. Expert judgment. One of the most common methods is relying on expert judgment. This involves consulting with team members or industry experts who have experience with similar projects. Their insights can provide valuable guidance on how long specific tasks might take. Analogous estimating. Analogous estimating uses data from previous, similar projects to predict the duration of current tasks. While it's not as precise as other methods, it's a quick way to get a ballpark figure, especially in the early stages of planning. Parametric estimating. Parametric estimating is more data-driven. It involves using statistical relationships between variables, for example, cost per unit of work or time per unit of output, to predict the duration of tasks. This method can be highly accurate if you have reliable historical data. 3-point estimating. The 3-point estimating technique helps account for uncertainty by considering 3 scenarios: optimistic, pessimistic, and most likely. You then average these estimates to get a more balanced time estimate. This method helps mitigate the risk of over or underestimating task durations. Bottom-up estimating. Bottom-up estimating involves breaking down tasks into smaller, more manageable components and estimating the time required for each one. These individual estimates are then rolled up to provide an overall estimate for the project. This method is detailed and accurate but can be time-consuming. Next, let's talk about estimating the resources you'll need to complete your project tasks. Resource breakdown structure, RBS. A resource breakdown structure, RBS, is a hierarchical chart that categorizes and breaks down the resources required for the project. This includes human resources, materials, equipment, and more. The RBS helps ensure you've identified all necessary resources and can allocate them effectively. Resource calendars. Resource calendars are tools that help you understand the availability of resources over time. By tracking when specific team members, equipment, or facilities are available, you can plan your schedule more accurately and avoid conflicts. Expert judgment for resource estimation. Just like with time estimation, consulting with experts can provide valuable insights into resource needs. Experienced project managers or specialists can help you determine the quantity and type of resources required for each task. Analogous and parametric resource estimating. These techniques can also be applied to resource estimation. Analogous estimating uses data from past projects to estimate resource needs, while parametric estimating uses statistical data to predict resource requirements based on project variables. Now that you have your time and resource estimates, the next step is to combine them to create a realistic and achievable project schedule. Up next, we have a crucial topic to discuss in this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now's the perfect time. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. 5. The Critical Path Method, CPM. The Critical Path Method, CPM, is a powerful technique for identifying the critical path in your project schedule. We'll walk through the process of finding the critical path and understanding its significance in determining the project's overall duration. By optimizing the critical path, you can effectively manage project deadlines and reduce the risk of delays. What is the Critical Path Method, CPM? First, let's define what the Critical Path Method, or CPM, actually is. CPM is a project scheduling technique that helps you identify the sequence of tasks that are critical for the project's completion. In simple terms, it's about figuring out which tasks must be done on time to ensure your project finishes on schedule. To understand how CPM works, let's break it down into a few key steps. Identify all tasks. Start by listing all the tasks required to complete your project. This is where a work breakdown structure, WBS, comes in handy, as it allows you to map out every task and subtask, determine task dependencies. Next, figure out how these tasks relate to each other. Which tasks need to be completed before others can start? These relationships are called dependencies, and they're crucial for creating an accurate schedule. Estimate task durations. Once you have your tasks and dependencies mapped out, estimate how long each task will take. This gives you an idea of the overall project timeline. Identify the critical path. Now comes the key part, identifying the critical path. The critical path is the longest sequence of tasks that must be completed on time for the project to finish by its deadline. Any delay in these tasks will directly impact the project's completion date. 6. Using Gantt charts for visualization. Gantt charts are excellent tools for visualizing project schedules. We'll explore how to create Gantt charts using popular project management software. I'll demonstrate how to plot tasks, milestones, and dependencies on the Gantt chart. This visual representation makes it easier to communicate the project plan to stakeholders and monitor progress effectively. Let's go through the steps to create a Gantt chart. List your tasks. Begin by listing all the tasks required to complete the project. Break them down into smaller, manageable pieces if necessary. Determine task durations. Estimate how long each task will take. Be realistic to ensure your project schedule is achievable. Identify dependencies. Determine which tasks are dependent on others. For example, you might need to complete a design before starting development. Set up the time frame. Decide on the time intervals for your Gantt chart, whether it's days, weeks, or months. Plot these intervals along the horizontal axis. Draw the bars. For each task, draw a horizontal bar on the chart that represents its start and end dates. Ensure that the bars are placed according to the time frame. Add dependencies in milestones. Draw arrows to show dependencies between tasks. Mark any key milestones with special symbols to highlight important achievements. By incorporating Gantt charts into your project management toolkit, you can effectively plan, monitor, and communicate project timelines. 7. Resource allocation and leveling. Resource allocation is a critical aspect of project scheduling. We'll discuss strategies for optimizing resource allocation to ensure the right resources are available at the right time. I'll also cover resource leveling techniques to address resource conflicts and prevent overallocation. First up is resource allocation. This process involves assigning your project's available resources, like team members, equipment, and materials, to various tasks. The goal is to ensure that every task has the right amount of resources without overloading or underutilizing them. Next, let's talk about resource leveling. This technique is used to balance resource usage over time, preventing over-allocation and under-allocation. 8. Contingency planning and risk management. Even with the best scheduling efforts, projects may encounter unexpected events and risks. We'll delve into contingency planning, where we prepare for potential setbacks and have backup plans in place. I'll share effective risk management techniques to mitigate risks and keep your project on track. Let's talk about contingency planning. This involves preparing for potential issues that could impact your project. Here's how to approach it. Identify potential risks. Think about what could go wrong. This could include delays, budget overruns, or resource shortages. Develop contingency plans. For each identified risk, create a backup plan. This might involve alternative resources, extra budget, or revised timelines. Allocate resources. Ensure you have the necessary resources set aside to implement your contingency plans if needed. Next, let's cover risk management. This is about proactively managing risks throughout the project lifecycle. Risk assessment. Evaluate the likelihood and impact of each risk. Use tools like risk matrices to prioritize them. Mitigation strategies. Develop strategies to minimize the impact of high-priority risks. This could involve adjusting the project plan or implementing preventative measures. Monitor and review. Continuously monitor risks and review your risk management strategies. Adapt your plans as new risks emerge or existing risks evolve. 9. Monitoring and controlling the schedule. Project scheduling is not a one-and-done task. It requires continuous monitoring and control. We'll explore tools and techniques for tracking progress, identifying schedule variances, and taking corrective actions when needed. By proactively managing the schedule, you can keep your project on course and deliver successful outcomes. First, let's talk about monitoring. This involves tracking the progress of your project against the planned schedule. Track progress regularly. Use project management software or tools to regularly update the status of tasks and milestones. This helps in identifying any deviations from the plan. Compare planned versus actual progress. Regularly compare your planned schedule with the actual progress. This comparison will help you spot any delays or deviations early. Update the schedule. Based on your tracking, update the schedule as needed to reflect any changes. This ensures that all stakeholders have the latest information. Next, let's discuss controlling the schedule. This involves making adjustments to keep the project on track. Identify and analyze variances. When discrepancies are detected, analyze their impact on the project. Understand why delays occurred and how they affect the overall timeline. Implement corrective actions. Take corrective actions to address any issues. This could involve reallocating resources, adjusting deadlines, or revising task priorities. Communicate changes. Ensure that any changes to the schedule are communicated to all stakeholders. Keeping everyone informed helps in managing expectations and maintaining alignment. Congratulations! You've now gained valuable insights into effective project scheduling techniques. By understanding the project scope, creating a robust WBS, estimating time and resources, identifying the critical path, using Gantt charts, and managing resources proactively, you'll be well equipped to excel as a project manager. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your colleagues, and subscribe to our channel for more content on project management, leadership, and professional growth. Thank you for joining me today, and until next time, keep mastering those project scheduling techniques like a PMP pro. Goodbye, everyone. See you in the next video.